Evening. Well, I appreciate everybody for taking some time out of your Wednesday evening to hop on a Zoom call. Because of the community and the neighborhood, finding an in-person location was proving to be a little difficult. So we've done virtual in the past. We're still allowed to do it now. So I figured this would be the easiest way for everyone to attend and to get the information that they may be looking for. So again, thank y'all for coming out to our virtual meeting. My name is Russ Bradford. I am the councilman for District 13. And those of you might be aware that may have been maybe 2 years ago, we had a meeting 2 or 3 years ago about this property, and the community kind of had some concerns, some pushback about that particular development. Well, the developers have reached out. They wanted to show a new plan and provide some updates that they've been working on. So this is just an opportunity for them to show what they've been working on and provide those updates for the community, and for members of the community to provide input or ask questions about it. And with that, Mr. Williams, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you, and go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for letting me present in front of y'all again. Like Councilmember Bradford said, we had a presentation of a development about 18 months ago, I believe. And I was just going to touch on it real quick to start with. And just FYI, Jeff Parnell, he's an engineer with TTL. He's also here and will be available for questions as well. So this is the original site plan we had. The acre or the land is 10 acres, and we were showing this orange portion having 30 units being townhomes and short-term rental, and then the remaining area being R8 for 47 lots for 77 total units. We did receive some pushback on that, understandably so. I guess, we understand. There was a couple other items that was of concern. I believe this home at the southwestern portion of the site was concerned about stormwater. And I think other than that, the main thing was density. So I'm going to flip to the new presentation and what we're now proposing. So the new proposal is for 22 lots. The lot area in total is 4.58 acres. This is a cluster lot subdivision, and it allows us to basically preserve a section of the site for any natural features that might be on the site. In this case, there was some community members last time that were concerned about the forest and the trees being cut down. That we totally understand why. If you lived in this area for a long time and you look over and the entire site is full of trees, that you'd want that to remain there. So that's why we went with this cluster lot subdivision to preserve the section of this site. You can see when you enter into the drive that there's also a section of the site that is preserved, so that the residents in the nearby area will be shielded by a natural barrier, which is the existing forest. We were hoping that would look better to y'all. The stormwater, concerning stormwater, this drive runs along the ridge of the site, and we're actually planning to discharge, if you're following my mouse, let me get a line out. this entire road is going to discharge into detention here, and then we're actually going to flip basins for a portion of the site. And I'm going to flip the AutoCAD real quick just so I can kind of show this. This white line is the ridge of the site, and then this section is the portion of the site that originally was outfalling to the southwestern portion of the adjacent property, and it's going to be we're gonna show this flowing to the north. So not only will we always have to detain. Not only will the pre versus post flows be the same, but the volume will be less. There will actually be less volume of stormwater going to the west. So we wanted to mention that for a minute. Let's see.
Mr. Williams, I want to ask just one quick question. Why would you not bring it to Pulley Road? The water.
The stormwater?
Right.
Well, a portion of the
where
water will flow down Pulley Road. Especially this existing stuff. Anything to the west of this white line will continue to flow to the west, but it will be detained. The section of the site that is developed will be detained first, and then it will outfall. So it'll be detained, somewhere around here, and then it will outfall through the forest as it did previously. So we're providing this large buffer here. It's 250 feet, leaving the existing forests untouched. And then in the frontage, we're doing the same thing. About 96 feet to the road. And a portion of the stormwater will continue to go to the west, like you said, and it eventually you can kind of see the contours. This is where the existing contours are showing the water going, but we're removing where my highlighted white line is. We're removing that section where it used to continue to the west, where I believe someone mentioned last time that they had stormwater issues, and that section of let's see, that is approximately 2 acres, 92,000 square feet. Stormwater doesn't, we're going to have to oversize detention in this area to accomplish this. You try to send the same amount of stormwater to each basin, to each direction where it is existing. But in this case, since we had someone mention having stormwater issues, we're going to send a little bit more to the north.
I guess I'm confused a little bit about that top left corner being where you're going to put your water, that's catching the water or whatever, because that's kind of like backwards, because isn't that the highest point other than
this is a ridge,
far right corner?
This is a ridge, so there will be inlets along this drive, and all the water will flow along the ridge. And then this is a ridge as well, so everything over here is falling back south,
right?
And then everything to the north,
right,
is falling back
into
this
that
direction.
area, right? Yeah.
And we're going to put it right at the end of this. This is where the detention is going to go. That's going to receive all of the impervious area for these homes. So some of these homes could potentially outfall this direction.
And so those the people that manage the property that water is going to go onto, they're cool with that? They know about it?
This is the airport authority. This is Metro
Mhm.
Airport Authority. But you, at the end of the day, so when I submit for a grading permit to Metro Stormwater, I show where the concentrated flow leaves the site in existing conditions, and then I show that in proposed conditions. And I can't show more water leaving the site for the 2-year, the 5-year, the 10-year, the 25, 50, and 100-year storm events. I calculate how much water would release from the site where the property, or where the water leaves the subject property to an adjacent property. So they're going to be the ones that hold that accountable. Not every site has a stormwater system with pipes, and sometimes it flows into people's backyards. But at the end of the day, the requirement is to not release more water after the development to the adjacent development. But we're going to do that. But what we're saying is we're actually releasing less volume of water too. So
Well, it's
for
just
each
that
of those-
we have to pay extra money for stormwater drain off on our water bills. And if these people's water isn't going to go into the storm drains, then they shouldn't have to pay that, is, I guess, one thing I was looking at. But anyway, it sounds pretty good. I'm just a little concerned about that water retention being right there, but we can probably work that out.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the plan. And so these lots on the left side, those lots aren't going to go to the north because they're too low. But we will still have detention for these as well. But what I was trying to hit on was that we are still actually, our post versus pre cubic feet per second is going to be less, but the volume's actually going to be less too. So what's going to end up happening is your post versus pre is going to be significantly less going that direction. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
We're good.
So on the previous design, we had some townhomes, and we did that because this is in a neighborhood evolving area, and it technically says we could potentially present to Metro Planning an RM20 or an RM15. At the time, I think that was STR eligible, and we were trying to show that in the back of the site to meet density. But on the new proposal, we're just doing single family homes. Here's 2 visuals for you to look at. And yeah, we think this would be a great subdivision. Something I just noticed, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I don't know if y'all are aware, but there is a Harding Place extension coming through here, and I don't know how that's going to affect y'all in the long run. I have no idea, but the only thing it could do is potentially increase density in that area, and planning might start recommending even more density in these areas because of this main thoroughbred. And this is like probably 10 years down the road. So just
So,
FYI,
Mr. Williams, I want to update on that. Harding Pike extension is never going to happen. Basically, the redoing of Donaldson Pike is taking place. So the Harding Pike extension through there, if it does happen, it's probably going to be 30, 40, maybe 50 years down the road.
okay.
TDOT has no plans for the immediate or long distance future to do that. They're focusing on Donaldson Pike.
Okay. Well, the only reason I said it is because I did look into that about 18 months ago, and this wasn't showing on the parcel viewer, and I just happened to see it today. But yeah, I totally agree. It's definitely a long ways away if it ever happens.
Michael, I appreciate you bringing that up. It's probably closer than we think.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so here's our this is our site plan, and the next page is the architecture. This is, approximately what we would be looking at. It's this is a suburban development. We're not doing townhomes. There's not a lot of land left in Nashville to build stuff like this. And I think people would be really happy to have homes like this in this area. I guess we kind of heard last community meeting how much y'all care about the area.
Do you have any idea what these houses would go for once constructed?
I don't know. I'm just an engineer. I try to stay out of that.
Now, at the last meeting, there were some concerns from the residents as far as this development having access to city sewer. And in your email, you had mentioned some changes or updates to that. You want to go ahead and speak on that, on the sewer?
Sure. So this was kind of the original idea in the past too, but I hadn't really drawn it up yet. But basically there is I'm going to flip the parcel view so we can get a better image. This is where the gravity sewer is. And this is the only route that gravity sewer will ever reach Pulley Road, unless there's something crazy that happens to the south. And so this is where we're connecting. We did talk with Metro Airport Authority, and they are willing to give us an easement to cross this terrain. It's a pretty long distance. I guess I don't have any distances on here, but it's pretty long distance. But it's we are able to connect to an existing sanitary sewer gravity main, and we want to bring this all the way to Pulley Road. Now, there will be some deep manholes, particularly in the middle of the site, but this is possible. And yeah, that's the plan for gravity sewer. Now, this line could potentially end up slightly maybe where this Pulley Road name is, and where we have it right now, any residents along Pulley Road would still have to have a grinder pump to reach that sanitary sewer main. But this opens the door for anyone in that surrounding area that may want to have gravity sewer in the future, because you do have to have the grinder pump, but before there wasn't even a grinder pump option. It was, you have to do septic. So we think bringing gravity sewer to Pulley Road would be beneficial for the community. Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
I don't really think it would be beneficial to too many people in the community. Even properties that are right next to that would not necessarily benefit from that. It would be the properties across the street from that, possibly. Yeah.
Like I said, if it went down a little bit kind of towards Pulley Road, there might be three homes or so that could potentially connect to it by gravity. I don't know exactly how, what the terrain looks like over there. I didn't study that, but
Well, there's only three
I-
homes that are above that ridge line.
well, so I guess if there are homes above that ridge line, they could potentially gravity flow in there. I think the terrain maybe goes down a little bit to the south. So I don't want to make that promise that they could for sure connect to it, but
Is there
worst
a
case
rep
scenario.
from, is there a representative from the airport on here tonight? Because we invited someone. Is there someone on here?
Yes, this is Elin Armstrong from planning. This is the first time I've seen the plan, so I'm pretty fresh and new, but I will try my best to answer any questions.
Okay, so my question to you would be, to follow up on this, is why would this development be allowed to do through airport controlled property, but others would not be able to? So that would be something that I would really like to find out.
You're saying there are other development that are not allowed to connect through airport authority? Can you give
Mr.
some-
Williams just stated that this was the only development that would be allowed to come through that area to do the sewer. So my thought is there's properties to the left and to the right of this property that would flow along the same lines as that one would. So why could those properties not access the same sewer in the same area?
They can. I may have misspoke. I was saying.
You were saying that the only way that we could get sewer to Pulley Road would be through your development, Mr. Williams, and that's not
Right.
necessarily the case.
Well, it's the only logical way to bring gravity sewer to Pulley Road. There's another main down here off Couchville Pike. You'd have to run it. I can't remember that road, but let's see, Pleasant Hill. You'd have to run it all the way through Pleasant Hill, and then there is creeks or acute angles in this area, and then there's actually a section coming from that direction that you could not continue to gravity flow, so you would have to have a lift station. Other than that, this is your next option.
Michael, if they put a sewer, they wouldn't run it along the streets. They would probably put it behind those developments and run a straight line from one area to the other.
Well, you'd have to get an easement through all the private properties.
So for you saying this is the quote unquote only way is from an engineering standpoint is closer, is just one easement through MNAA? Is that
Correct.
okay? Okay, just for my
Yeah,
understanding.
and anyone can access it. It's a public sanitary sewer main that we would be extending. So anyone can access it.
So what you're saying, like, I understand that you'd be connecting your property with the sewer main that basically ends right there in Timber Valley. And it's a main that anybody can access, but right now, your development is the only one that has the easement to go through airport property, correct? So if
We have
anybody else
had-
wanted to connect to it, they'd have to go through airport property.
Yes.
And my thing is this: if airport authority allows one easement, then they should have to allow multiple easements.
Michael,
that-
when you say yes, have you talked to which department of the airport authority have you talked to? Real estate, I assume?
So this was about 18 months ago. I'd have to go see if I can get you a name. The guy is not there anymore because I reached out again. This was 18 months ago.
Okay.
If I can see airport authority. This was literally 18 months ago.
Yeah, we are
Um,
undergoing a lot of staff change, especially in the real estate department. So I just want to make sure that not only does real estate need to be in agreement with this, our legal team, finance, and especially planning and engineering, since you mentioned other than sewer, there will also be drainage into the area. We also need to, check that. internally.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we will take care of that. The airport authority was wanting the developer to pay for it. And we were in negotiations, or the developer was in negotiations with how much they would pay for it before our last community meeting, where we didn't end up moving forward with a rezoning. So at that point, we stopped talking to the airport authority representative.
Okay.
And Michael, might I also add that I think the plan looks really good. I think it's a great compromise that you guys came up with. It's just the fact that, again, like Russ brought up, how much are these homes going to sell for? They're going to sell for at least $500,000 a piece. And we've recently learned through a contact that I have with someone on the Planning Commission that there's been some overtures, if you will, to look at some property that's just maybe 3 football fields away from this subdivision that you're wanting to build, that could possibly be rezoned IG, which means it could be heavy manufacturing, which in our world on Pulley Road for the last 50 years has meant a rock quarry. And so I don't think that your developer would be real happy about building $500,000 homes 3 football fields away from a potential rock quarry. And that's what we're looking at possibly. And so we're in the throes of trying to look and see what that situation is all about. And that's right down there in the middle of the Harding Place extension that you were just talking about. Okay, Michael? So you might want to let your developer friend know about that too. It's just really important. I think that's a great plan you have. Wonderful ideas. I'm all for improvements and progress. We just need to do it in a really wise way that protects the people that have been there for over 100 years. Our families lived in that area. And it's important that we continue to protect what we've been responsible for all of these years. And also understand that there is progress that has to be made, but the city of Nashville is going to have to step up. They're going to have to come up with some city services in that area. I don't know if you know that, but the 22 people that'll be buying homes in that area will have to pay for their own trash pickup and all of that good stuff. So no city lights, no sidewalks unless you guys build them. That's just our reality. And that's what we've had to live with over there for all these years. And we trade that off for the beauty and the serenity of the area. And if we're going to have to give up the beauty and the serenity, then we've got to get something to compensate us for the trade-offs. That's what we're looking for. So, but really, I would definitely check into that property down the street and see why they're wanting to change the zoning on it and what they've got planned, Mr. Williams, because it could greatly impact whether or not you can sell those homes.
I believe
Go ahead.
the upper.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? I do have one if nobody else has anything. Can you go back to the map or the plans, Michael?
Sure. And just FYI, the airport authority representative, it was John Corbett that we were talking to.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, he's no longer there, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like I said in the chat, if you ever find that email chain again, if you can please send it to my email address, and I will recirculate this and make everyone aware and make sure we're on the same page.
Okay.
Yep.
Definitely. Thank you.
I think it's the preliminary plans. I'm looking for the one with, yes. Yeah. So I like that you're keeping a lot of the natural vegetation as a buffer. A question I have, because it comes back to the first meeting when the conversation was about traffic and traffic flow. Is there going to be any kind of turn off so that people aren't having to sit and wait in traffic, that they can just turn off the road and then turn into the entrance? Or will it just be a sharp turn in and out?
I don't know, is the best answer. I'll tell you if I don't know. There could be a right turn lane that is built in to this drive, but that would ultimately be up to NDOT. I did do a traffic study for site horizontal and vertical site distances to ensure our location would be okay and would be acceptable for a vehicle to be able to stop at the point of seeing the vehicle. And this is per a TDOT traffic book. It's the book that everyone uses in Tennessee. So this is done per TDOT standards. And NDOT might ask for some type of vegetation maintenance agreement. They probably will, to ensure that these line of sights are kept. But yeah, that's all the information I have on that.
Okay. Any other questions, thoughts from
Yeah,
those on the call?
Just a quick question. This is Chaz Vetter, 2601. Just a little bigger picture overview of what the process is like, looking at rezoning, what the current zoning is, timelines, like how many more meetings like this are there before this actually could be rezoned?
So I'll take a stab at that. So we are approaching the end of this council term, and the planning commission, the planning department wants to make sure that all plans can have enough time to go through before the end of the term. So I believe the deadline for any new projects to be filed is, I think, the end of this week. So some of the developers that have reached out to me in the last couple of months, I've pretty much said, I'm not doing any new ones, but because this project, we first had a meeting over a year and a half ago. Mr. Williams reached out to me for the holidays. So I wanted to go ahead and have this meeting for the end of this deadline, so that the community can hear what the changes are and the plans are. If we decide to go forward, I will let Mr. Williams know, go ahead and file with the planning department. Now, once that happens, they'll have to go before the planning commission. I'm not 100% sure of their schedule, but if it gets filed by this week, I don't think it would come before planning commission until probably July, maybe June at the earliest. Then if they approve it, it would be 3 readings at the council with a public hearing on second. I would definitely be open to holding additional meetings after it's been filed, as I would like to get as much public input, and I'm sure the developer would appreciate the input, so we can make sure that if this goes forward, the end product is something the community is good with and satisfied with. If the community decides that no, it's still not good enough, then we can always pull the bill. But to be respectful of Mr. Williams' time and attention on this over the last 18 months, I want to go ahead and have this meeting and give him the opportunity to present this information, and then he can file it with the planning commission. We go forward. We can always make some changes to it, make some amendments. If at the end of the day, the community still doesn't like it, then we can pull it and start the process over at the next term. And if the
Okay.
community is okay with going forward, I will personally want to have a couple more of these community meetings during the process, as the plans are starting to get finalized and adjusted, so that the community is aware of what changes are being made, what improvements are being made, what's being left the same, and get the updates. But again, I am leaving this up to the will of the residents of the area, since y'all are the ones that will be living next to it, and I'll leave it at that.
Thanks.
Mhm. So with that, I would probably say, it is a short turnaround time, so I think it has to be filed by noon on the 21st is, I think that's the date, so, yeah, Friday. So if you would like to send me emails, over the next 24 hours with your, yay, nay, or in between, and then I can let Mr. Williams know first thing Friday whether or not we can go ahead and start the process. And if that's the way the community wants to go, then before it goes to the planning commission, we can try to have another meeting. And if there's any updated plans or any feedback that the developer has received from the planning department, we can present those at that time. So if there's no further questions or feedback, like I said, you can shoot me an email, russ.bradford@nashville.gov, and just put in the subject line Pulley Road, and let me know your thoughts between now and first thing Friday morning. And then Mr. Williams, I'll reach out to you on Friday and let you know what the community is, what their thoughts are.
Okay, all right, well, thank you everyone for having me.
Thanks to everybody for, again, taking your time out this evening to hop on this call. And again, let me know what your thoughts are. Send me those emails. And like I said, if the decision is made to go forward, this will not be the last meeting. I will make sure that there's more opportunities for residents to provide input and feedback at every step of the way. So thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Russ. Appreciate your help.
No problem.
Thank you.